She was supposed to say, "I do," in front of 400 of the richest people in Georgia. A woman stormed down the aisle, blonde. 7 months pregnant. Red dress 2 sizes too tight. Mascara already halfway down her cheeks. In her fist, she clutched ultrasound pictures like playing cards she was about to throw. "Stop the wedding," she screamed. "The baby is his." 400 heads snapped toward the groom. Ethan Harrington, 38, white tech billionaire, 4.2 billion in the bank, and a smile that once made Aisha believe in forever, went the color of printer paper. The blonde reached the altar and flung the sonograms. They fluttered down like dirty snow. "Tell them, Ethan," she shrieked. "Tell your little diversity project that we've been together for 2 years. Tell them about the penthouse you put in my name last month." Aisha didn't move. Not an inch. The veil trembled slightly in the air conditioning, but the woman underneath, it was carved from ice. Phones were already out. Someone was live streaming on Instagram. The hashtag Harrington wedding crash trended nationwide in 45 seconds. Ethan opened his mouth. "Aisha, baby 2 years," Aisha said, soft enough that the microphone on the priest's collar caught every syllable. "So, while I was closing the Meridian merger for you at 3 in the morning, you were making a whole human being with her?" The blonde laughed, high and ugly. "He told me he was leaving you right after the wedding. You were just the respectable face until the investors felt comfortable." Aisha turned her head slowly, like a queen acknowledging a peasant. "Respectable," she repeated, tasting the word. "That's cute." Ethan reached for her hand. She let him get within an inch before she stepped back. "Don't touch me with the same fingers that touched her." His mother actually fainted in the front pew. Aisha's father, a retired Marine with a salt and pepper fade, reached inside his tuxedo jacket. Keisha, maid of honor, had to grab his arm before he cleared leather. The blonde kept going. "I'm having a son. You can't erase me." Aisha smiled then. Not the warm smile from the rehearsal dinner. This one could cut glass. "Sweetheart," she said, voice velvet and venom. "Keep the baby. Keep the man. I'm keeping the rest." She slipped the engagement ring off first, 22 flawless carats catching the light like a dying star. Then the wedding band she had never gotten to put on. She placed both in the velvet box the ring bearer was still holding, closed the lid with a soft, final click. Ethan lunged forward. "Aisha, wait." She was already pulling her phone from the hidden pocket sewn into the gown. 2 taps. 1 text. "Execute plan, Beta." She looked up at him, eyes shining but not with tears. "With victory. You just lost more than a wife today, Ethan." The organist, bless her dramatic soul, hit a low, ominous chord without being asked. Aisha turned. The train of the gown unfurled behind her like white fire. She walked back down the aisle she had just floated up 5 minutes earlier, except this time every step sounded like money. Guests parted like the Red Sea. Some were crying. Some were filming. All of them knew they were watching history. She passed the blonde, paused just long enough to lean in and whisper loud enough for the nearest iPhone to catch it. "Red really is your color. Blood looks good on you." Then she was gone. The doors closed behind her with the finality of a vault. Outside, the May air smelled like magnolias and freedom. The Rolls-Royce Phantom was waiting, engine purring. The driver opened the door. Aisha slid in, gown and all, and reached for the chilled bottle of Dom Perignon already poured. Keisha dove in after her, eyes wide. "Girl, explain. Right? Now." Aisha took a slow sip, pink lipstick flawless on the crystal flute. 8 months ago," she began, "I borrowed his phone to look up a restaurant. He was asleep, or pretending to be. There was a text from CB Fitness that said, 'Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow, Daddy.'" Keisha gasped. "I didn't cry," Aisha continued. "I made a copy of everything. Then I hired the most expensive private investigator in the country and told him money was no object. Turns out Chloe wasn't even the main course. She was just loud." The car pulled away from the curb. Paparazzi tried to chase on foot. They didn't stand a chance. 3 mistresses, Aisha said, counting on diamond-free fingers now. 6 offshore accounts. A divorce petition already drafted and sitting and signed in his desk drawer. He was going to blindside me 30 days after the wedding. Georgia law favors the spouse who files first, you know. Keisha whispered, "So what did you do?" Aisha smiled again, softer this time. I'm a corporate attorney, baby. I wrote our prenup myself. Page 47, paragraph 9, subsection C. Proven infidelity by clear and convincing evidence triggers immediate asset reallocation. Guess who just became the majority shareholder of Harrington Tech? Keisha screamed so loud the driver swerved. 52% voting shares. Aisha continued, calm as Sunday morning. The Buckhead Mansion, the G650 jet, the vineyard, every piece of jewelry he ever put on me. And the post-nup he signed 2 years ago when I caught him flirting at the gala? The one he was too drunk on the calendar to read? That one locked it all down. The car turned onto Peachtree Road. Billboards flashed by. While we were saying vows, Aisha said, my legal team was filing emergency motions. By the time he walks out of that church, his Amex will already be declined. Keisha fanned herself. You are terrifying. I love you. Aisha looked out the window, Atlanta blurring past in streaks of green and gold. I loved him with everything I had, she said quietly. I miscarried our son at 14 weeks while he was in Tokyo. He sent flowers. Flowers, Keisha. I buried our baby alone. Today, he buried us in front of the whole world. Difference is, I'm walking out of the grave in custom couture. The car slowed in front of the St. Regis. Valets scrambled. Aisha drained the last of the champagne. Tell the concierge I'll be checking into the presidential suite under my maiden name tonight. Tomorrow the locks change on Buckhead. Day after that, the board meets, and guess who's chairing it? She stepped out, 25 feet of silk pooling around her like spilled cream. Cameras flashed from every direction. She didn't flinch. She posed, because queens don't run. They relocate the throne. And right there on the red carpet of the St. Regis, still in the wedding dress that cost $500,000, Aisha Carter looked straight into the nearest camera and said the sentence that would break the internet before dinner. He wanted a trophy. I just became the whole damn championship. The St. Regis presidential suite was already booked under Carter, not Harrington. The concierge had tears in his eyes when he handed her the key card. Welcome home, Miss Carter. She tipped him $1,000 in cash from the envelope she'd kept in the bridal clutch. She had planned every detail. Keisha kicked off her heels and screamed into a pillow. The internet is on fire. Twitter crashed for 6 minutes. Somebody already made a TikTok sound of you saying blood looks good on you with 20 million views. Aisha stepped out of the gown, let the $500,000 dress fall to the marble floor like shed skin, and walked to the closet in nothing but La Perla lingerie. Hanging inside were 3 new outfits, all red, all lethal. She chose the crimson Alexander McQueen power suit that fit like armor. Her phone buzzed nonstop. Board members, investors, CNN, Vogue, even Oprah's producer. She silenced everything except one contact. Marcus Okoye, the Ghanaian cardiothoracic surgeon she'd met at a charity gala 3 months ago. He had never asked her net worth, only her favorite jollof spot in Accra. His text was simple. I saw what happened. I'm outside whenever you're ready. No cameras. Just me. She smiled for the first time all day, real, soft, human, and typed back. Give me 48 hours to bury the body. Then, dinner. 48 hours later, she walked into the Harrington Tech emergency board meeting wearing the red suit and Louboutin heels sharp enough to commit surgery. Ethan was already there, unshaven, eyes bloodshot, tie crooked. He stood up when she entered. Aisha, we can fix this. Sit down, Mr. Harrington, she said. The room went colder. This is no longer your company. The vote took 4 minutes. 52% is 52%. They stripped him of the CEO title on the spot. Security escorted him out while he shouted her name like it still belonged to him. It didn't. By noon, the headlines rewrote themselves. Black Queen takes tech empire after wedding from hell. Aisha Carter, now worth $2.9 billion. And this Angeles, she held the press conference on the steps of the mansion that was now solely hers. No notes, just truth. I came from a 2-bedroom apartment in College Park. My mama cleaned houses so I could go to law school. Ethan Harrington promised me partnership, loyalty, family. He gave me lies instead. Today I took what was legally and morally mine. To every woman watching who's been cheated on, gaslit, or told her worth is tied to a man. Your value was never up for negotiation. Walk away with your head high and your accounts higher. She dropped the microphone, literally, walked away while it rolled down the marble steps. The video hit 200 million views in a week. 6 months later, the dust had settled into diamonds. Harrington Tech rebranded as Carter Global. Stock tripled. She was on the cover of Forbes, Fortune, and Essence in the same month. The headline everybody screenshotted, from bride to billionaire in 6 months flat. She launched Queen's Counsel, a nonprofit law firm that gives free representation to Black women facing predatory prenups, cheating husbands, and crooked family courts. The waiting list is 2 years long. Celebrities send 8-figure checks just to get a meeting. Ethan, the man who once flew private to Tokyo for sushi, now flies Spirit, middle seat, and still gets bumped. The board forced him out with a $40 million severance that disappeared in legal fees and back child support once Chloe's baby came out looking suspiciously like her personal trainer. He lives in a 1,200 square foot condo in Alpharetta and sells cameos for $200 just to cover HOA fees. Chloe got evicted from the penthouse the Monday after the wedding. The moving company live-streamed her crying on the sidewalk, surrounded by Louis Vuitton and unpaid bills. Last anyone heard, she was back in Mobile, Alabama, doing apology videos nobody watches. Aisha, meanwhile, bought the vineyard in Napa outright. She renamed it Queen's Rest. On the first harvest weekend, she invited 30 Black women entrepreneurs, flew them in on the G650 that still has the old tail number Ethan picked, and let them stomp grapes barefoot while Beyoncé played on loop. The wine sold out in 41 minutes at $500 a bottle. And Marcus? The surgeon became the boyfriend, then the fiancé, then the husband, quietly, no press, no circus. They married at dawn on the vineyard with 20 people total. She wore gold instead of white. He cried when he saw her. She didn't. She'd already used up every tear she was willing to give away. That on their wedding night, they sat on the balcony overlooking the vines, her head on his chest, his fingers tracing the tiny scar low on her belly where their first son had almost been. "You still think about him?" Marcus asked softly. "Only when I cash the dividends," she said, and they both laughed until the stars blurred. Sometimes late at night, she scrolls the old viral clips, the ones with 500 million views now. She watches herself walk down that aisle in the wedding dress, veil glowing, spine made of steel. She watches the exact moment her heart closed for business and her empire opened. She never flinches, because she learned the most expensive lesson love can teach. When a man shows you he's capable of betraying you in front of God and 400 witnesses, believe him the first time. She didn't burn his world down. She simply stopped watering his grass and built her own garden. And every spring, when the magnolias bloom in Atlanta, little girls in College Park look up at the billboards with her face on them and hear their mamas whisper the same 4 words like a prayer. Queen. Moves. Only, she never went back to that cathedral. She didn't need to. The throne was already hers.